Some machines are just machines. They do a job, but every once in a while, something comes along that completely changes the game. It's more than just metal and wires, it becomes a symbol, an absolute icon of its time. Today, we're going to talk about a true legend of the skies, the Boeing 777.
So how does that happen? How does a mode of transport, a tool, become this beloved piece of engineering that really defines a whole generation of travel? Well, it's a story about having the right vision, the right innovation, and solving a very specific problem at the absolute perfect time. So let's set the stage. We're heading back to the early 1990s. Now, Boeing was already a giant in aviation, no doubt about it. But they had a problem, a really specific gap in their lineup that airlines were practically begging them to fill. Okay, so picture this if you're an airline back then. On one hand, you've got the super reliable Boeing 767. It's fantastic for routes like, say, New York to London. On the other hand, you've got the massive, iconic 747 jumbo jet, the queen of the skies. Here's the catch. For a lot of popular, really long-haul routes, the 767 was just a bit too small. But the 747, it was often way too big and expensive to fly profitably. You had this huge Goldilocks problem. One plane was too small, one was too big. Airlines needed something that was just right. And boy, did Boeing move fast to solve it. The design work gets rolling in the early 90s. The first 777 takes its maiden flight by 1994, and it's already carrying paying passengers by 1995. This wasn't just a slow evolution. This was a flat-out revolution in how airplanes were developed. And it was all made possible by a totally new way of thinking. So how in the world did they do it so fast and, frankly, so well? Well, they didn't just design a new airplane. They pioneered a whole new way to design airplanes. And this right here is where the story gets really, really cool. For the very first time in history, a commercial airliner was designed 100% digitally. Think about that. Instead of using these gigantic physical blueprints and clunky mock-ups, engineers were using what you could call a digital scalpel. They designed every single bolt, every panel, every wire with incredible precision on a computer. And that meant everything fit together perfectly right from the start, which saved a mind-boggling amount of time and money. But the digital design, that was just the beginning. The 777 also earned what you could call the ultimate seal of trust in aviation, ETOPS certification. See, for decades, if you wanted to fly over a huge ocean, you needed 4 engines, for safety. ETOPS certified that the 777's 2 engines were so incredibly reliable that they could safely fly for hours away from the nearest airport. This completely unlocked the world of point-to-point travel. Suddenly, you could fly directly from, say, Seattle to Tokyo. No need for a stopover. It literally redrew the map of global air travel. And the number that made it all possible is this one: 2. Just 2 engines. For decades, crossing the Pacific meant you needed 4. The 777, with its 2 absolutely massive and unbelievably reliable turbofan engines, proved that 2 was enough. This was nothing short of a monumental leap in engineering and efficiency. Now, all this incredible technology wasn't just for the engineers to geek out about. It had a direct, real-world impact on absolutely everyone. It created an aircraft that was a massive win for the passengers flying in it, and a huge win for the airlines flying it. For passengers like you and me, the 777 was a total game changer. All of a sudden, those super long-haul flights didn't feel so, long. The cabins felt way more spacious, the seats and aisles were wider, and the engines were so quiet you could actually hear yourself think. A 14-hour flight went from being an endurance test to a genuinely comfortable ride. It just set a completely new standard for what we all expect when we fly. And this quote, it really just hits the nail on the head. For millions of people, the 777 wasn't just another plane. It was international travel. It came to represent this whole new era of feeling connected and comfortable while crossing the globe. And from the airline's point of view, the math was just beautiful. It's simple, right? 2 engines burn a whole lot less fuel than 4. So when you combine that amazing fuel efficiency with a high passenger count and incredible reliability, what do you get? You get an aircraft with way lower operating costs. It was, for all intents and purposes, a money-making machine. And that incredible financial performance is exactly why it became the absolute workhorse for some of the world's most famous airlines. We're talking carriers like Emirates, Singapore Airlines, and British Airways. They literally built their global long-haul networks on the back of the 777's dependability and efficiency.
It truly was the backbone of modern global aviation.
So here we are, decades later, and the 777's influence is just undeniable. Its story didn't end back in the 90s. No way. It's a legacy that is still defining how we fly today and shaping what we're going to expect tomorrow. Really, when you boil it all down, the 777's legacy is this. It proved that you didn't have to choose. You could have incredible efficiency, amazing passenger comfort, and airline profitability all in one fantastic aircraft. It completely rewrote the rulebook for long-haul travel.
And that spirit of innovation is still pushing forward. The original 777 set the benchmark, right? Well, now its successor, the 777X, is getting ready to raise that bar even higher, with incredible new technologies like those amazing folding wingtips, designed to be even more efficient. Which kind of leaves us with one final big thought. The original 777 was a huge leap forward, powered by digital design and incredible engines. As its successor prepares to take to the skies, it really makes you wonder, what's next? What's going to be the next revolutionary idea? The next big breakthrough that shrinks our world just a little bit more? Let me know what you think down in the comments.